Hey everybody, this is Dylan. I bought a ton of strawberries and I am just slicing them for the freeze dryer because I'm going to use them as a delicious backpacking snack. They were on super sale, so I couldn't pass it up. And it's getting into summer, which is when we go out of town backpacking. So I want to have all of these snacks on the ready so that I'm not stressing right before a backpacking trip to have it all set. So anyway, I thought this might be a good time to talk about social pressure because it is one of the most common questions we get when we're doing the mukbangs. And so I reread chapter 9 of The Pleasure Trap, which is Dr. Lisle and Dr. Goldhammer. Well, Dr. Lisle probably wrote this chapter because it's psychology related. But I reread chapter 9 on social pressure, and I wanted to just tell you about it. Dr. Lisle also has videos about this very topic. So he just talks about how we're all humans. We seek social stability. We're looking for ways to fit in and conform so that we don't create stressful situations. But the problem is when we are doing something that's very different from the rest of the group, such as eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, it can be really challenging socially for other people and for ourselves. So he just gives us some tactics to be prepared for these kinds of social situations. And so he talks about two types of people: the ill-informed, which are people who don't really know much about health, and he talks about the irritated, and which are generally friends and family, our life partners, etc., who understand perfectly what we're doing. They know why we're doing it. They know that we're eating right to be healthy. But they don't want to do it. They're not ready to get into that. They don't want anything to do with it, so they become agitated. So first, the misinformed. Essentially, the misinformed are victims of a mass misinformation campaign that we've all experienced most of our lives. From the big meat, dairy industries, alcohol, tobacco, extra virgin olive oil, BS, and on and on. And so most of those kinds of people are concerned with deficiencies and making sure that they're taking their supplements and getting the right nutrients and being healthy in that way, but really they don't have a clue about health for the most part. So when you avoid the foods that they like and that they believe in, it makes them very uncomfortable. So you've got to be prepared for when you make this kind of a person uncomfortable. And what Dr. Lisle recommends you to do is to sort of sound unsure, to sound tentative about what you're working on. Remember, the misinformed are the people that are going to ask, where do you get your protein? Where do you get your calcium from? And you can say, I get it from Whole Foods and stuff, but that's probably not what they want to hear. What they probably want to hear is, I'm just trying this healthy thing. I talked about it with my doctor and we're just giving it a shot, and it seems to be working for me, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And this sort of makes them feel more comfortable because you've made it sound like a tentative thing. Potentially they're not so wrong about what they're doing, and you can kind of just move on. I mean, if it's a person who's genuinely interested in learning about what you're doing, or actually wants to know the answers to the where do you get your protein and calcium question, then maybe this isn't even social pressure and you can actually have a conversation about how you live a healthy life. That's kind of a different situation. You'll get a good read on that right away. So he says for this kind of person, generally, you say seem. It seems like this is working and I'm going to try it because I seem to be feeling really well these days. And that's pretty much it for that type of person. So the other type of person are the ones that he calls the irritated, and these are generally the friends and family that understand what you're doing, and they just don't want any part of it. And they're trying to get you off course so things can go back to normal, where they feel good about it, and they can just take drugs to try to get well. So with these people, you need to understand the source of their irritation. And that is simply that they're embarrassed. They see you eating healthy and they indulge in things that are not healthy, they see you watching them do it, and they feel embarrassed about it, and they want to bring you down to their level. So this is their opportunity to be sarcastic or make a joke about the way that you eat in order to maybe make themselves feel better or get the whole room against you, to say something that makes them feel confident or normal in the way that they're eating or living their lives. So in this situation, you've got to go right to the root of the issue, which is their embarrassment. And you have to essentially make it so they're not embarrassed. And to do that, you may do this subconsciously already, but it's just to broaden the conversation, focus on the reasons why you love them and talk about it. Talk about their hobbies, talk about something that they're good at that you're not, or that you don't know anything about, and you could engage them in, so that you're having conversations about things that make them feel better and stronger and more confident, and you just kind of let the health thing go. Just move past it. Simple as that. You don't want to succumb to their social pressure, because that's going to only make the next social situation that's like that much harder, because now they know that they can get you. And so in order to do that, you simply change the conversation to something else, and you move on, you move past it. You make them feel better about something that they do, and you're done. But you have to be prepared. If you don't know what you're going to talk to with a certain person, then you actually have to think about it before. For me, this tends to come mostly naturally, because I feel like I've been this way for a long time. But for you, it might not yet. You might be so nervous and new to this and lacking in self-confidence because you're just starting, that you may not be able to quickly jump on the topic change or broaden the conversation, and you could give in. You could succumb to the pressure, and then, you know, you've screwed up for the day. And you don't want that. So the second tactic that you can use with friends and family and others is to sort of make it sound like you're just a work in progress. You're sort of like what you did with the ill-informed, and that you sound like tentative about it. Like, oh, I have to be careful because I've got low self-control, and if I indulge, I'm going to be stuck, and I'm going to, you know, just like make it sound like you have the ability to indulge, but you're just going to choose not to this time. Sort of almost like making it sound like next time you might, but no, this time I got to do this thing. So you're just making it sound like you're not better than anybody else in the room. You're just doing something else. So Dr. Lisle calls it humility. You've made yourself sound fallible, that you are capable of indulging, and you've made them feel safe. So you can move on to something else, and that person isn't feeling quite so threatened, because you're not coming at them with facts and science and all the reasons that they're doing something wrong. So this tactic may come naturally to you as well. I feel like I used this tactic growing up when I was confronted with peer pressure, and it always worked. I only had to do it like once or twice, and then everybody knew that I was going to say no. Everybody knew that I wasn't going to make them feel bad about doing whatever they were trying to get me to do, but I was going to move past it. I was going to enjoy their social company and just be okay. And so I was never really confronted with much peer pressure, because I sort of nipped it in the bud from the start. So anyway, the social pressure is legit. Your habits can make people feel pretty uncomfortable, and those are a couple of tactics that Dr. Lisle suggests, and he would do this explanation a lot more justice if you listen to some of his videos. You should read The Pleasure Trap, because it's a really good explanation of this idea. But let's move on to like what I actually do with food and stuff in social situations. And we've talked about this in the mukbangs, but I'll just repeat some of it briefly. And that is that I always say, like, if I'm invited to something, a dinner party or whatever, that sounds great, we'll be there, and we'll take some food. And most of the time they are good with that, because they don't want to have to prepare food for you, because they don't really know how, just simply because of a lack of experience, and that's okay. So you just say, no problem, I'm going to take food. So that usually helps for a lot of social situations. Other times when that might not be appropriate, you can show up late. After dinner, you could take dessert of some sort. Another thing is potlucks. When you throw a party, you can either make good food and hope everybody likes it, or you can also do a potluck, but then you risk having food that you don't want in your house. But I found that when we do potlucks, it's starting to be that everybody knows we're vegan. So when we do a potluck, people are showing up with vegan food, and they've decided to try to make vegan food. It's tough for them to do oil-free if they aren't aware, but at least they know we're vegan, and they might not show up with meat, and that's good. But then you might be creating an obligation to try out whatever they bring, which could have oil, so that's tricky. But so you got options at least. If you're always invited to happy hours, you can have a soda water with a lemon or lime at the bar or wherever you are. It's gotten to where I don't really like to drink when I'm out anymore. So when I do have an alcohol cheat, I like to really enjoy every bit of it and not be in this social shuffle where I'm sort of desensitized to the thing that I'm drinking. And it just flies by and you're like, well, what was the point? I didn't even enjoy the actual drink anyway, so why did I even bother having it? Just to make the other person feel better about themselves? So I'll usually not drink when I'm out, and most of my drinking takes place at home. Obviously there are exceptions. If we go to a little dinner party and we're having some wine with dinner, or something like that, yeah, I'll have some drinks, but generally, I tend not to get all riled up and drink multiple drinks in a party-like setting anymore, because it just doesn't align with what I think is healthy, and I don't like enabling people that I think are unhealthy to keep doing what they're doing. I'm not trying to make people feel bad, but I just don't want to be a part of it. I don't mind being around it, because that's just how life goes. But I don't really want to enable it. So usually when I drink, it's quietly in our house. We're having maybe a bottle of wine with dinner, very rarely, and that's kind of the extent of it, with a few obvious exceptions. If you see me out in a bar drinking, don't just call me out on it, because I'm telling you now that there are exceptions. So anyway, that's kind of social pressure. What else could I talk about related to social pressure? I've talked about in the past meeting people where they are, being aware that a person is misinformed, and meeting them at their level, making them feel strong and confident like we talked about with family members, and letting them see you, the example, letting them see your progress, how well it's working, and then they're going to start becoming more interested, especially as they start to see their own health deteriorate. Hopefully it doesn't get so bad that it's a bad deterioration that's irreparable. Hopefully they figure it out faster than that, but you can only do so much. So you have to just kind of accept and love people, and accept them for who they are. Realize that they may come to this. Realize how long it took you, and only if you were asked a few years ago or told that you needed to change and do something healthier, how you would have reacted to it. I know that there was a time in my life that I would have been really weird about this, and it was a very slow transition going from health curiosity to acting on the things that I was studying. So you have to meet people where they are. When you see people that are unhealthy walking around with Starbucks and complaining that it's too hard or too expensive to eat this way, you can't get in your head about that and be like, well, it's actually way cheaper to eat this way. They don't know. They're trying to defend their status, and you have to just let them do that. It's clear that they're not ready to hear the other point of view, and you just slowly chip away, maybe not with language, but with action and letting them see you progress. And hopefully you'll be able to help them through something with your experience. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about social pressure, because I know it's really hard for a lot of people that are new with this lifestyle. It does become really, really easy. As time goes by, it just gets easy. I still have my bad days where I get stressed out about my family, not doing this, or friends, or whatever. That's gonna happen. And you just need to have somebody to talk to about it. Maybe the Facebook group. You can talk about it there. Maybe you've got someone in your life, your loved ones, your life partner that you can talk to about it, but you find your outlet, and if all you've got is the Facebook group, then you're doing pretty good, because we have a hell of a group of people that are very supportive and want to help you through these kinds of challenges. So anyway, that is all for now. I'm going to keep on slicing, and then we'll go put these in the freeze dryer and start it up. So those are now gonna just freeze for 9 hours, then the vacuum pump will turn on and they'll freeze dry for like another 24 hours on top of that. So it does take a lot of time, but it is a pretty awesome system. We'll have these weightless strawberries to take on the backpacking trail, so it's well worth it. If you're interested in this freeze dryer, I've got a link, I'll put a link in the description that has my affiliate code in it. I love this machine. I would never publicize a product in one of my videos that I don't actually use on my own on a regular basis, that I totally believe in, because it adheres to the big picture of sustainability and self-reliance and all these things that I believe in. So don't ever think that I would dupe you into buying something that I don't totally believe in. I bought this thing at full price and I love it. So I will have a link in the description if you're interested. If not, no problem. Just watch me make videos about it and have fun with it. That's cool too. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, be sure to do that. We've got a lot of people in there that are just super into this, getting on track with health, but also learning about this lifestyle and from all the other angles that they may not be aware of, getting support to keep them going. I'm going to start doing some Facebook Live videos in response to some posts, some of the common concerns or questions that we get within the group. So you'll see even more of me there. I encourage you to join us, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.